right, here we are. Let me turn this light on, if that helps. Man, this light just doesn't do it justice. The powder coating has like a gold flake to it that you really only see in the sunlight. But it looks awesome. I love it. I'm excited. I'm pleased about the whole thing. But we do got to talk about some things. So right out of the gate, is this kit worth it? Yes and no. Probably more yes than no. For me, I'm working out of my garage and I don't have, I'm running out of space. If y'all can see it in here, it's just packed plumb full of shit. And the last thing I wanted to do was mount a tube bender to the floor or buy a hydraulic bender. And maybe one day, if I'm lucky enough to get a shop where I can actually, you know, play car in an adequate space, I'll do that. But right now, I just don't have the room for it. So for me personally, buying the kit was just the only option for me, right? So is it worth it though? Is the kit worth it? Is it a quality kit, right? That's what everyone's asking. Like, is this thing a piece of shit or is it good, or, you know, it's good to go? Yes and no. I think the value is there. I think for what you get, so the kit is $500 and I spent $660 with it shipped. So just to have this main hoop right here, just this main hoop, this one bent, and I mean, I just can't do that at home. So I think it's there. Everything else is kind of, I mean, I could get a notcher. I could set a notcher up. I got room for that on the table. And I think I would have been probably better off with just the hoop and then notching all my own pieces. There's so many cool 3D printed tools out now that that you can do it. They got lasers and little look like tungsten rods to give you the shape that you want, and then you just pull it back and trace the outline, and that's it. It's pretty much a no-brainer. But to have all this stuff notched and pre-bent, I think it's worth it. I think where the product falls short is in support and instructions. Probably more so on instructions than support. But the main thing that I found out along the way, after I already kind of got into it, is I think I've discovered that there's actually probably more than one version of this roll bar. And what I was looking at online, I tried to build this based off of what was available to me with the video from Garagistic. They've got a good video that kind of does a brief overview of it. And I would watch that video and I'd still frame stuff and take screenshots and kind of look at that and use that for my instructions. Totally overlooking the instructions that came with the kit. Not that they were instructions, it was more just like a diagram. And I think I noticed a difference between what I saw in the video online and what they shipped and what was printed on that diagram. So that, I think if they could clear that up, just if I were to give feedback, the main things I would say is give us some dimensions on the geometry, right? So if the first weld right here and the weld all the way over here needs to be 21 inches apart, put it make a fucking note that says 21 inches apart, or, you know, 10.5 inches from center, right? That would that would go a long way. If you wanted to go even further, all the notches in here were laser cut. It was very clear that this was done on some sort of a CNC. Just, it was, you know, it's cranking these things out. There's no reason why they can't just go ahead and engrave at the same time it's being cut some sort of system, right? Not only where to place the welds, right? Where to start it, right? You can have indexing points on the tubes, like, hey, weld here, dummy, right? That would make it so much easier, and that's an automated thing, right? That's not anything that's going to cost. I can't imagine that driving the cost to produce this product up a whole lot from whoever they're getting it cut from. But it would help a whole lot. And then the tubes, just numbering the tubes, like this is tube A or tube 1, right? 1, you know, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 4, right? And have an A and a B side. So 1A goes to tube, you know, 2B or whatever, you know, just some sort of system. It's not complicated. It could be made a lot better. That's what I'm getting at. I tried to let the notches, the shape of the notches, actually dictate where I laid the pipe. But in the instance like this main piece here that goes on the diagonal, there was no getting the notches to sit perfectly on both sides, right? So there was either one end was mated perfectly where the top and the bottom touched, but on the other end, it was way off, right? And vice versa. If I shifted, it would just shift the error around. So the best thing I could do was just kind of split the error all the way around and kind of get it right. I don't think there's really an excuse for that, but it turned out okay. I was really set on TIG welding it because I can TIG weld very nice. And after seeing all the gaps and stuff, I was like, fuck that, we're MIGing this. And it's one of the guys in the group made a comment like, yeah, just MIG it because, you know, all the professionals MIG, and, you know, okay, maybe there's probably a number of reasons why they MIG weld. But for me, at that point, when I saw I wasn't going to be able to bridge it with TIG and filling rod and stuff, I decided that I was just going to grind the welds down afterwards, because I knew I was going to take this thing to powder coat. So I was going to, you know, even if it was perfect, I would have been powder coating over my nice TIG welds anyway. So I said, fuck it. I ground it down the best I could. It's not perfect. There's still some spots that, you know, aren't great, but overall, the overall appearance of this thing is phenomenal. I absolutely love it. I am disappointed that I didn't get the X, and I'll talk about that in a second. I really wanted that X brace in the back. That's just, you know, one of the sexiest parts of the kit. So I'm a little upset that I wasn't able to make that work. And I think if I were to do it again, I would do it a little bit differently. And again, I'll touch on that in a minute. So as far as the harness bar that goes across the back, I think, so I am 5'10", and my seat is all the way back and I'm touching. In the video, he said if you're 6 foot or over, you're going to want that cutout. Man, if you're 6 foot, you're definitely, even if you are 5'10" and your seat is different, which is making me worry about, you know, if I change seats, because I plan to maybe go to a bucket seat later on. And depending upon how deep that seat is, I might run into issues. I might be, you know, humping my steering wheel here, but, you know, I'll just deal with it. So, yeah, I'm all the way back. I'm touching. I got a nice lean. I could probably go on a road trip with this at this angle and be all right. So let's get out and walk around, and I'll talk about a few other things here. All right, guys. It has certainly been a minute. The garage is an even bigger mess right now because I have started sanding the car. I started the body work, but I won't get too sidetracked with all that. Just know it's been a couple weeks. We had Snowmageddon happen here in Tennessee, or the ice storm. We were shut down for a while. Schools were closed. I was playing Uber at work. It was just ridiculous. So anyway, back on track. Let's get this video wrapped up so we can focus on another video, and that is the body work that I'm doing. So I mentioned earlier what I would do differently. I would probably start with this X, okay? I would lay this thing down on the floor, and one of the things that led me to believe that maybe there's two different versions of this is in the instructions, it called this X the short X, okay? And I'm thinking that's because of this right here. When you look at the video, I'll put a little still shot of the video, and this X right here is very narrow. Man, I wish I had a stick or something. Here we go. I got a stick or something. All right, so in the video, you'll see when I put it up, I'll put the screenshot up. The X actually intersects to these bars here, these side bars, okay? In the video, you'll see it's very clearly, it's here and here, which makes it much wider than what we actually have down there, right? So that's why I think they got that, but when they made the change to what they're actually shipping, it actually mounts to the bar here and here, making the triangle smaller. And so I think that's why they started calling it the short X. Plus the multiple notches that we have, here tell us that it's intersecting into multiple tubes, right? Same thing on this side. It's intersecting into multiple tubes, but very clearly, just by looking at those still shots from the video, you can tell that's not the same. So that's definitely something that I failed to pick up the first time around. And again, if you've made changes, if you made updates to your stuff, I mean, update the one and only freaking resource that you have, right? Like, just do another video. Anyway, so because they've mentioned it as, it referred to it in the instructions as a short X, I want to say that was a clue to this being a second version as well. So don't do what I did and go off the instructions. What I would do is set this up and weld this first. So I set this on the table, and man, how can I put this? I laid one of the straight bars right across here, so this notching and that notching is perfect, right? And there's no doubt about that, right? Like, I need to show y'all. I wonder if I can balance it on this chair. The garage is just such a fucking disaster right now. I've been building this little go-kart for my boy. I might do a video on that, I don't know. Little electric go-kart, drift cart. Got these fat ass Mario Kart looking wheels on there. It's gonna be fun. All right, so, all right, there we go. So this, you can see the notch is perfect. Perfectly straight, right? So these notches look good, okay? Now, I know this triangle has to be the intended size, right? So each leg of this triangle has got to be correct, because this notch down here for this pipe, right, that is good too, right? So I know without a doubt, without a diagram or anything, that that is probably true, okay? So, what am I getting at? Well, what I'm getting at is what I was talking about earlier, where if the notches were good on one end, the notches on the other are bad. And I can't do this one-handed, but just take my word for it, it's bad, right? So if I take this piece, right, and I put it up here, and I center it on that roll bar, where the legs are supposed to touch here and over here. Let me get this out of here. This is another project I started. I put too many irons in the fire. Check that out. Oh, I'm excited about that. Can't wait to show you all that. Anyway, so where it connects here and here, it just doesn't connect. It does not connect. So maybe these runners are off. I don't know. But I'll say this, how they're off, it would, if I were to make a change to this, I would have to push this in. That's how far off they are. I'd have to push these in, and in the video, again, this is where I think it's outdated. Maybe there's some new information, better placement, but as far as I know, you can't really change this. Like this is here, right? This is not gonna move further this way. This can only be butted up against this. So that's why I think the angle is off, or, you know, it's just, it's not perfect, guys. It's not perfect. So when it comes down to it, I think if you're gonna do this, if Garagistic is gonna make a product like this, and you're gonna buy a product like this, I think both people have to have a better understanding, or have expectations of who they're selling and who's buying, right? I think this is gonna be for the guy like me who kind of knows how to weld. I'm not a professional roll cage builder. I wanna do this in my garage, right? So what does that mean? Well, provide us with better instructions, okay? Especially if you come out with a version 2 and things are different, because we're gonna reference your website. We're gonna reference everything we can, because, you know, that's what we wanna do. We don't wanna screw this up, right? And for us, if you're buying this thing, you know, I hate when people, you know, shit talk people's businesses. I've had several businesses in my life, and so I'm not casting shade at Garagistic. I think they're a great company. I think they do. They have a lot of great products. Hell, I've got their chassis mount shifter. That thing is badass. The owner has messaged me before about things. He's gotten back to me before about things. So I mean, I think it's a great company. And these cars are only getting older. They're only getting more niche. And when we have companies like Garagistic and CA Tuned that really put a lot of time and effort, energy, and money into these platforms, we need to support them, because they're the ones who are taking the risk to help keep these cars alive in whatever way you're choosing to do that, whether it be a restoration or you want to make it a track car. You know, the companies like this are the ones that make it possible. So I don't think we as a community need to be, you know, shitting on them. We need to do more like what I'm doing here and just give positive feedback so they can improve and develop on their product line. That's all. So, yeah, overall, I think if you go into this with some good, the right expectations, what you're going to get out of it, I don't think you can be upset. I think to get this configuration right here without the X is fairly easy. I mean, this is fairly easy. I think you can do this no problem. I think it gets a lot more nuanced when you try to install that X. So, a couple other things I'm trying to remember here because it's been freaking weeks. The seatbelt harnesses, okay? these guys, all right, my passenger side doesn't fit anymore. There is zero room for me to install the, let me get this thing out of here. I just got these rear door cards. I might mess with those this weekend, we'll see. But there's zero room for this thing to fit. I know the light's bad, I'm sorry guys. But it just hits the roll bar right here. Where's my light? There we go. All right. Yeah, I know it's just laying in there, but you get the point. It interferes. So if you're doing this, and I know most people are probably, well, if you're putting a roll bar in your car, why don't you go to harnesses? Well, I might not want to go to harnesses, right? I want to kind of retain the regular seat belts, right? I don't have bucket seats. I've got regular seats. I want to retain the seat belts, and that's what I'm trying to do for right now. That might change later on. We'll see. But just know I would place these here with this in place. Don't remove this because you don't want to screw yourself there. Man, I think that's it, really. Again, I think if I were to do this again, if I was Garagistic, man, I would like to see just the hoop be sold. If I could have just bought the hoop, and I know that's the biggest, most expensive part to ship. I mean, obviously it's going to weigh less without the other pieces, but dude, there's free internet tools. There's free tools where you can type in the angle and the diameter of your pipe or whatever, and you can print out stencils to tape around here. Okay, you can draw your notches, and then you can get this with an angle grinder. So again, for us, for the do-it-yourselfer that doesn't have a tube bender or whatever, man, I would totally have just bought this hoop and then made all these straight pieces myself. That's easy. You can do that with a cutoff saw, a flap grinder, a flap disc, and a free internet tool. And I could make all my own straights, and I wouldn't have to worry about anything else, right? And I could save money. I would definitely prefer to do that. But anyway, that's it, guys. Sorry it took me a while to get this out. Hopefully you found this video useful. You learned something from it. If you have any more questions, just I'm over in the K-Swap D30 group on Facebook. That's kind of where I hang out. And that's it for now. So on to the body work. All right, guys. Till next time.